the 1 to 4 review for the test. So on this first one, they want you to have a denominator of x minus 3, and this part has 3 minus x. So in order to switch it around, you've got to multiply by -1 to the numerator and to the denominator. And so we've got to do parentheses around this. So then how we write it is negative to the side, and then this on top, and then the x minus 3 reversed on the bottom. The other way is if you're trying to put all your signs and numbers on top, then you'd have to think about distributing this like so. So that's why it's negative 4x minus 5 on top and x minus 3 on bottom. Now, on this next one, you're using PEMDAS, and if you're going step by step, you do your parentheses first, then your exponents, then your multiplication, division, then your addition, subtraction. So you do your 2 times 3 first to get 6. You do your parentheses 9 minus 2 first to get 7. And you do your 15 times 3 first to get 45. And you do your 6 times 5 first to get 30. So that's all your first step. Then 12 minus 6 is 6, minus 28 divided by 7 is 4, plus 54 minus 45 is 9, plus 55 minus 30 is 25, plus 2 is 27. And then you, I did 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 plus 9 is 11, and then 11 plus 27 is 38. So that's how that works. Now on this one, if you multiply or divide by -1, it just reverses everything. Reverse when multiply or divide by -1. And then that would be the inequality, but you want interval notation, and so you need to use parentheses, not brackets, since it doesn't include, well, let me just say since less than, instead of less than or equal to. And in the same way, you want from -2 to 6, so these are both -6 to 2, and then this one has brackets and this one has parentheses, and so we want the one with the parentheses. Okay, now on this one, what you're going to want to do is move this top part down and move this part, not the 6, but move the variable part up, because the negative exponent means to move it. So you put this is x to the 1/7, and then keep the 6 down here, and then have this as 36x squared, and then the half here. So when you're actually moving it, you flip the sign from negative to positive. So then for your next step, you do a half, like 36 to the half power is the same as the square root of 36, which is 6. So that's how you get that extra 6 there. And then x squared to the half is just x. So then we have x to the 1/7 over 36x. Now your next step is you've got to bring this down, and then you're doing 1 minus 1/7, which means 6/7. So that's x to the 6/7. Now MathXL doesn't accept that answer. It wants it with a radical notation. So that's why this would be counted wrong. So we need radical notation based on the directions. And so that's 1 over 36. And then the 7, which is the denominator, is your root. And then x to the 6th goes over here. So that's your answer. For number 5, this one you're doing FOIL. So for the F, you're doing 7x to the 1/7 times 7x. And for the O, you're doing 7x to the 1/7 times negative y, negative 1/7. And then for the I, that means you have to have a plus there. For the I, it's the inside terms, so we need a plus 7x and y to the negative 1/7. And for the last terms, you need a minus, and then it's y to the negative 1/7, y to the negative 1/7. So let's simplify that a little bit. We go 7 times 7 is 49, and then you're doing x to the 1/7 plus 1. Now that means do 1/7 plus 7/7, which is 8/7. Excuse me. And then this turns into negative 7x to the 1/7, y to the negative 1/7. But as you can see, they want positive exponents only, so that means this part has to go underneath. And so you just remove that negative exponent. And then for this part, you have to move this part underneath. And for the last part, you have to do y to the negative 2/7, because negative 1/7 minus 1/7 is negative 2/7, and that's just going to be positive over here. So that's what you want. Okay, for your next one, you do your 45 divided by 20 on your calculator. Both are divisible by 4. And so you get 9 over 5. Then for the m part, you have m to the negative 19 over m to the 19. You want to have positive exponents, so this one's got to come under, which means 19 plus 19, and that's 38. And then for the n part, we have n to the positive 13 and n to the negative 15. So this goes up. 13 plus 15 is 28. So that's why it's n to the 28th. Then you just put all that together. So the 9 is on top, the m to the 38 is on bottom, and the n to the 28 is on top. And I forgot the 4. Oh, I meant to divide by 5 here, my bad. So then you have your 4 here. So 9 fours, and then that. Okay, now on a question like this, you got to look for your keywords. Some say parallel, some say perpendicular, and also some have y equal like this, and this one you have to type y equal. So be careful between those. The first step is find slope. So if you have x plus 4y equal 9, then that's going to be negative x plus 9, and then divide by 4. So that's negative 1/4 x plus 9/4. So this is the only part we care about. We don't use the 9/4. Now, since it's parallel, use -1/4 because it's the same slope. So then we have y equal -1/4 x plus b. Now you go to this part, which is the 3, 6, and this is x, this is y. So 6 equal -1/4 times 3 plus b. And do 6 plus 3/4. 6 plus 3/4 is 27/4. And so then you go back to what you had, and it's y equal -1/4 x plus 27/4. And that is what that is. Okay, this one you do the same thing, except you want perpendicular, and so you do the opposite reciprocal. So first we have 6x plus 5y equal 3, so 5y equal -6x plus 3. So y is -6/5 x plus 3/5. So your first slope is -6/5, and so whenever it's perpendicular, which is the upside down t, you have slope 1 times slope 2 equal -1. In other words, if you have -6/5 here, then you're going to have to change it to 5/6. It's the opposite reciprocal. So your 6's would cancel, your 5's would cancel, and you would only have a negative sign left. So that's why that works. So that means you're going to have y equal 5/6 x plus b. And then your ordered pair for this one is 5, -3. So -3 equal 5/6 times 5 plus b. And subtract 25/6. -3 minus 25/6 is -43/6. And so that's why this one turns into 5/6x minus 43/6. Okay. On this one, they want you to graph it. And when they want you to graph it, that means solve for y. So on the first one, -2y equal +3x plus 24. And so you get -3/2 x minus 12. And on the other one, I'm just going to move this over. So 3x equal y minus 6, and then add 6. So y equal 3x plus 6. So think of this one as F1 and think of this one as F2. -3/2 x minus 12 and 3x plus 6. Okay, then you want to find the intersection. So do your intersection that way with number 4. And that gives you -4, -6. Make sure you use your parentheses since it wants an ordered pair. And do your intersection. Also, just as a hint, do Control T for your table to use whole numbers. Don't estimate like halfway between, because that's not going to work. There's your one for the blue graph. So you could use the point to -15 and 418, -18. And if you go to the right, you have the red one. So you could use 212 and 418. But y'all know how to do that. Just graph it. Now on this one, you want to do RREF, but notice it's using A, B, and C. And so that means you have extra spots. So this one you need a 0 there, this one you need a 0 there for B, and this one you need a 0 there for A. So you go 4, 7, 0, 15, 8, 0, 4, 16, 0, 6, 4, 6. RREF parentheses, and then you do menu 7 for matrix, and then 1 is create, and you want a 3 by 4. Menu 7 is matrix, 1 is create, and you want to create a matrix, and 3 tab 4. And then you just go 4, 7, 0, 15, 8, 0, 4, 16, 0, 6, 4, 6. And then it worked if you get your diagonal ones with those zeros. And then we have the 2, 1, 0 on the right. And so this is the A variable, this is the B variable, this is a C, and these are your answers, which are the 2, 1, 0. So the right side are your answers, your first variable, your second, and your third. Now on this one, you want to factor it. And what I notice about this one is I have all evens. So factor out a 2. And so I go 2 and then 4r squared minus 15r plus 9. Now, factoring with coefficients in front is kind of like a guess and check type thing. Like you can say 4r and r, or you could say 2r and 2r. Okay, so factoring is kind of like a guess and check type thing. So you can think of it like that. And then based on the 9, you can do 3 and 3. So then you have 3 here, 3 here. And since both of these are positive, they've got to be negative here because we want a negative middle term. And how you can think of this is this part for the O part would be negative 12r, and for the I part would be negative 3r, so that's the negative 15r, which is what we want. And so that means this is the right one. Now, I also wanted to show this as a graph and put function 1 is 8x squared minus 30x plus 18. $8x squared minus 30x plus 18. Then you get your zeros, which are your x-intercepts. And on this one, I get 0.75. And on this one I get 3. You can move it 3. So what that means is this is like x minus 0.75 and x minus 3. Now 0.75 as a fraction is really 3/4. But what we do is we take this denominator and put that in front. So that's why it's 4x minus 3 and then the x minus 3. Now the tricky part about using the graph on this is you notice here we had an 8 and this just has a 4, so you have to you need your 2 in front. So the disadvantage of using the calculator is you've got to remember this would have just given you 4x squared and you need 8x squared. So that's why you have to do your extra 2 in front. And then this one's the same way. You just factor it. Okay, so for on this one we have 12x squared minus 13x minus 35. And so if you wanted to, you could type it this way. And you go to New Document, Graphs, 12x squared minus 13x minus 35, enter. And now we want to find the zeros, which are the x-intercepts. And on this one we get negative 1.25. And on this one, we have 2.3 repeat. Ignore that extra 1. So 2.33, so forth. So what we want to do is think of that as x plus 1.25 and x plus 2.3 repeat. Now when you go to 1.25 menu number fraction, that gives you 5/4. So that's x plus 5/4. Now when we have this denominator, that's going to go in front. So that's the 4x plus 5. And then you just have to change it to the variables you're using. So the c variable is what x is. And then the 5 goes here, and you just have to stick that second letter right there like that. So that's how that works. Then we have to do the same thing for this. So let's say you have 2.3 repeat. If you just have a couple of them, it's not going to work. You have to go to halfway and then menu number fraction, and you get 7/3. And what I just noticed is this is a positive, but when we graphed it, one's on the left, one's on the right. The one on the left should have a positive sign, because positive is that, and then the negative is the other one. So this needs to be a minus. And that was 7/3. And that becomes 3x minus 7, and then you just change it to 3c minus 7r. So that's how that works. Otherwise, you would just like guess and check until you get it. You need a 35, and so negative 35 would have to be like 5 and 7, and your negative would have to be with the 7, because this is negative. And then you could have just guessed and checked with the 12, because you could have seen 12 with 12C with C, you could have had 6C with 2C, or you could have had 4C with 3C. So that's why in this particular problem I prefer using the calculator. Okay, a couple more. On this one, you want to do your division. You take your -7, divide by 2, and then you want to square it. And so that's like -7 squared over 2 squared, which is 49/4. And that's what this is. And then this is that answer, basically. So you just make it k minus 7/2 squared. And on this last one, we want to use our square root property. So that means that if you have your number here, you need plus and minus the square root of that. And then you have to break it down. As a reminder, you could say F1 is 147 divided by X, and look in your table, look for perfect squares. Like 4, 9, 16, 25, and so forth. So let's do that. (147) divided by X, and look in your table. So at 4, it's a decimal, so we can't use that. At 9, it's a decimal, so we can't use that. At 16, it's a decimal, so we can't use that. And just keep going. 21 is 7, but you can't do your square roots that way. 25 is a decimal. Your next one is 36. 36 is a decimal. And finally you get to 49, which is 3. And the square root of 49 is 7. So we break this up into plus and minus the square root of 49, square root of 3. And so that's how you get 7 square root of 3. So that's how that works. If you wanted to look at both the left and the right side for a perfect number, you could have gotten it quicker, but I just looked in the X column. But if you see 3, it's also 49, and so that would have told you the same thing, that it's 7 square root of 3. Okay, hope that helps.